as Russia continues its illegal offensive in their country. The U.S. just one of the nations pouring billions into the fight there in the effort to stem the humanitarian crisis it's created. I'm live now with former U.S. Ambassador to Ukraine, Stephen Pifer, for some analysis of just where we are with this evolving crisis. Stephen is also a senior fellow at the Brookings Institution Center on the United States and Europe and the director of the Brookings Arms Control Initiative. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
We are now on day 142 of this war. This week, Moscow has been pounding residential areas of Kharkiv. In the last 72 hours, assessments from the British Ministry of Defense indicate that Russia's made no significant territorial advances in the Donbass. Others say Russia's in danger of losing any momentum from the capture of Lysychansk. The Kremlin says it's in an operational pause, but bombs are still falling. What is really going on here?
Yeah, well, the Russian military has now taken that part of Donbass. It's called Luhansk. They've taken the Luhansk Oblast, but it took them 3 months. And it was very hard fighting, lots of casualties on both sides. So I think the Russian military now is trying to rest and recuperate. There's still some probing attacks, and you see these horrific missile attacks on civilian structures. 5 days ago, Russian missiles hit an apartment building and killed nearly 50 people. Yesterday, it was an office building that killed nearly 30 people. I mean, these are not military targets.
Right.
But it looks like it's settling into a war of attrition.
Ukraine's Foreign Minister Dmitry Kuleba says he has ruled out ceding any territory to Russia as part of any ceasefire that may come. Given the state of affairs with this conflict, how can any statement like that be made? Does Ukraine really have a good chance to hold on and put down this threat?
Well, I think Minister Kuleba was also reflecting the attitude of the Ukrainian people. There was a poll a week and a half ago, and it said 89% of Ukrainians oppose any territorial concessions to end the war. And so what you've seen, though, is the Ukrainian military has fought much better than most expected. It's pretty clear that however the war proceeds, there's going to be an independent Ukraine on the map of Europe.
Okay.
And it's not clear that the Russians can achieve much more before they simply reach a point where the combination of Russian casualties and loss of equipment and low morale make it hard for the Russians to conduct a coherent offensive.
All righty. Well, this week saw the first face-to-face meetings between the two sides in months, trying to work out a deal to get 130 cargo ships full of grain and wheat moving again for export around the world. Those ships have been stuck in a Russian blockade of the Black Sea, threatening the global food supply chain. A deal to kind of turn that around is supposed to be basically done and will be finalized next week as President Putin holds meetings with Turkey and Iran. The other part of that trip to Tehran is supposed to be a deal with Iranian drones. Since Russia may be running out of resources and need Iranian drones and the training for them, do you see that happening?
Well, it's been pretty evident the last 2 months that the Russians are looking for help in a variety of places. And one hopes that the Iranians would stay out of this, but apparently there's this conversation going on where the Iranians would provide some drones. It's not clear how much that will change the fight in Ukraine. We'll have to see.
All righty. Officials in Kyiv have predicted it will take $750 billion to rebuild after the war. How are those estimates even being floated when there's no end in sight to the fighting? And at this point, when more than 2 million Ukrainians have had to flee and find another way to live for 5 long months, is there a danger they don't ever return? Because even if the war were to end today and $750 billion was the exact and only price tag for restoration, that restoration doesn't happen tomorrow. It may be years before parts of their homeland are really habitable.
Yeah, well, first of all, I think most Ukrainians who are now refugees in places like Poland and elsewhere in Central Europe, most of them, they want to return home. They want to go back to their homeland as soon as it becomes safe to do so. Now, the $750 billion is sort of a best guess estimate now as to what it's going to cost to rebuild the housing and the infrastructure and all of the destruction that Russia has inflicted on Ukraine. One thing I would hope is that right now there are $300 billion in Russian central bank assets frozen in Western financial institutions. I would hope that people would move to seize that and use that as a contribution to the reconstruction of Ukraine, given that all of this destruction is the result of Russia's unjustified war.
Pay the bill you created already. Now, WNBA star Brittany Griner is in the middle of her Russian trial for possession of cannabis oil. She was arrested on February 17th. Russia's attack on Ukraine started on February 24th. Some believe that Griner was targeted so that Russia could be holding an American as it started this conflict, a way to keep America in check. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I'm always suspicious of these kinds of arrests in Russia. There are Russians serving time in American prisons. Victor Bout, who was a arms dealer. There are Russians here that have been imprisoned because of cyber crimes and drug charges. And the Russians in the past seem to target Americans so that they can have trade bait. And it's a dilemma. I really understand. On the one hand, I think the administration would like to free her and get her back to the United States. But on the other hand, the risk in making this kind of trade is, do you then encourage the Russians to arrest more Americans on false charges so they can conduct further trades? It's a very difficult situation.
Definitely is, and so many tendrils to the war in general. Thank you so much for, again, joining us to help us sort through it all and understand what's happening on the global stage. We appreciate you.
Thank you.